All right, Derrick, Hollie is the president of Reaching America, a member of Project 21, assessing the racial cost of regulation in this country, because you always hear about how there's inequity and disparity, and apparently roads and bridges are now racist. At least that's what I've been told. Derrick, good to have you here.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for having me on this morning. Appreciate that.
Always a pleasure. So tell me about regulation. Tell me about regulation and the racial cost of regulation in America and what you're referring to here. Educate me a bit.
Well, Steve, I've been on your show before, and one of the issues that I do the most work on is reducing energy poverty. Energy poverty occurs when individuals and families are unable to afford basic heating, gas and electric needs. And so, as you know, the price of the pump right now is not funny at all. And so the regulations that are being implemented, that are being put forth by this Biden administration, are destructive to vulnerable communities.
They certainly are. Well, and I look at this, make no mistake, the cost of propane is up 50% today over last year. There's about 20% of the homes in America use propane to heat. In fact, Michigan, where I live, more people use propane to heat their homes than any other state. Natural gas is used by about 40% of the households to heat their homes. It's up 35% over last year. So we're already seeing the impact of refusing to give new federal leases on oil and gas exploration by the Biden administration. It is really devastating to those that can least afford it, isn't it?
It's devastating, and what frustrates me the most is how it just gets, for the most part, with the alphabet media, it just gets glossed over. It's a joke to them that this many Americans are struggling right now as it relates to energy costs. And and Steve, I swear, it just burns me up inside. Because here we are right now asking OPEC to produce more oil. What the hell? We were energy independent in 2019 under President Trump. In 2019, we surpassed Russia and Saudi Arabia to become the number one exporter of oil and natural gas in the world. And it begs the question, how can our natural resources be worthy enough for the rest of the world to use, but here at home, it's not good enough for us?
Right, we have to beg Saudi Arabia and Russia to produce more oil. Here's a news flash for those on Chicken Noodle News and everywhere else. That is simply this. It doesn't matter where a barrel of oil is pumped, it's going to have a carbon footprint. So if that's the case, and China and India have no idea or any indication that they're going to slow down anytime soon, not for at least 40 or 50 years, as far as their carbon footprint, then why don't we produce our own energy, look out for ourselves? But instead, they want us to put on these little hats that have the propellers on them and walk around like goofballs and try to save the world.
And the rest of the world,
you can't do it.
And Steve, the rest of the world looking at us like we're idiots. Here Joe Biden is over there at the climate summit asleep. In the climate summit asleep. He took a 85-car motorcade to a climate summit.
That's right. Hold on. And did a sightseeing tour that covered about 100 miles with 85 cars on a sightseeing tour of Ireland and so forth, plus the jets, and to get hundreds of people back and forth and all that. It's a complete joke. When people like John Kerry show up and say, well, I have to use a jet, I'm really important, and I'll save the world, but I'll use a jet that uses more fuel than most families use in a year in the average home in America. It's come on, Derrick. It's absolutely absurd. But here's the problem. You've got people that are virtue signaling. So we're not going to give leases on public land. We're going to save Anwar. We're going to do all these things. Anwar, by the way, is the size of South Carolina. And the area in question to drill for oil in Anwar, the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, is less than 100 acres. Less than 100 acres in a place the size of South Carolina. Seems kind of, shall we say, short-sighted, doesn't it?
Very short-sighted, and people, they deserve more. They deserve more, and it's very short-sighted. It's very hypocritical. It's very condescending. It's everything. This administration, they speak down to people. It's a joke, and I don't understand how everybody voted. People didn't vote for Biden they voted against Donald Trump. And it's unfortunate because the country right now is suffering from it.
That's absolutely true. And why did they vote against Donald Trump? Because they were lied to. The Steele Clinton dossier, they were told about things that involved Ukraine that were proven to be false. Now you've got real crimes being committed by Hunter Biden that don't get investigated at all, but I digress. Derrick Hollie, president
No, you did not.
Reaching America, member of Project 21. How do we get it better? Because it's going to be people that can at least afford it in the inner cities of Detroit and Baltimore and Cleveland and elsewhere. They're going to get punished. And people that live out in rural areas that have lower incomes are going to get punished by this cost of electricity, of propane, natural gas, heating oil. People are going to get drilled. I'll give you the last word.
You know, I just think people, those people that you're referring to, they're going to have to speak up. They're going to have to stand up for themselves because that's where we are right now. And someone's going to have to go in and educate them. And it can't come from the alphabet media. It can't come from a political show because people, I think, are just tuned out to politics and policies and stuff right now. So you have to approach them a different way and show them their own how it's going to impact them personally.
I totally agree. Derrick, greatly appreciate you being here. As always, thank you for the education, and we'll have you back soon.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Steve.
There you have it. That is Derrick Hollie, everybody, part of Project 21. Speaking up because somebody has to.